Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Theory Labs. I'm John, your host, and today with me, I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Andre Knox, aka Dre Gothams. Dre,
How's it going, y'all? Doing good, doing good. Can't complain.
Yeah, so unfortunately, this is gonna have to be another episode while in quarantine, but we'll get around that. And today's evening we're actually gonna be talking about one of our favorite movies. I know it's one of Andre's favorite movies, Big Trouble in Little China. Dre, have you seen that movie?
Have I seen that movie? Have I seen it? Yes. Yes. I've seen Big Trouble in Little China many, many times. Grew up on that film, loved it as a kid. It's like, if you haven't seen it yet, like it's like perfectly built for like a young child with like a lot of imagination and like a thirst for like cool action scenes. So and comedy, like it's like a weird blend that can only come from the '80s, and I just dig it. So yeah, big fan of this film.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because the director, John Carpenter, is actually known for more of his horror films. Biggest film to date, of course, is Halloween, right? He did Halloween 1, 2, 3, the continuations that are and the remakes that are nowadays, and The Fog, The Thing. Like he has a End of the World trilogy, but he and Kurt Russell actually link up a lot in their career.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool when you see those pairings, director and actors. We started to see it I guess it's kind of gone on for a while now. I mean, bringing it back to the '80s with Carpenter and Russell, but you see things like with like the Judd Apatow and his whole crew of comedians, Scorsese with Robert De Niro and Pacino and things. We even have recent ones with Tarantino. It's kind of cool when these directors get their muse or get like an actor who they just like really trust or see something special in and kind of like almost feels like they make roles for them or kind of handpick. So like now, like I wouldn't have thought that Brad Pitt would be a Tarantino muse, but like Tarantino loves that guy. I mean, I love him too. Who doesn't love Brad Pitt?
Absolutely.
Maybe Angelina and Aniston, but I won't go there. But yeah, you know what I mean? So like, I mean, so this is what's happening now, but we go back. Yeah. Like Kurt Russell, Carpenter, those guys like love to get down.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can, I mean, Kurt Russell's a beast. He is one of the biggest action stars, I think, of his generation, and such a funny, just charming guy.
He's kind of a low key action star, right? Because like he does good films and he has a lot of action films. I don't think he just straight up pops into people's minds when they think action hero, because I think of like bigger guys, like bulkier, like Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, Stallone. But if you look at his volume of work, he actually has a lot of films under his belt, and he does really well with them. So you got to give him his props. And yeah, he's actually very funny. His comedic timing seems like really good, especially it's shown in this film for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because his character is kind of like that Western action hero. He's going on this adventure, but he's like a big klutz. I don't know better way to explain, but like he should be the guy that's like taking charge and doing his thing and shooting up the bad guys, but he's falling over his own left foot. And
right, it's kind of like the antithesis of like an action hero probably in the '80s. That's kind of how I see it, which I think makes it like really good and interesting. I think when I try to pitch this movie to people who probably aren't usually into that sort of thing, I go like, oh no, it's actually like really different, because you have this hero who's like, okay, we've seen this before. They can do everything. They're invincible. But like Jack Burton's like, he's so sure of himself and his abilities, but like he probably shouldn't be. He probably shouldn't be so sure, because he like messes up all the time. He's outshined by his like friends. But like the great thing about him is that like that doesn't stop him. Like he never doubts himself. I don't think he's ever really doubted himself in one scene of this film. And so that's kind of like, I think, the charming element of Jack Burton. So and I know we'll kind of go into the different scenes, but yeah, for sure, like he's great for that sense of like, oh, here's your typical action hero, but he can't do anything right. And he, knocks himself over the head by shooting into the ceiling, but yeah, he's still going, and he thinks he was great the whole time doing it.
Oh, absolutely. And it's that hubris that's so comedic, because as the audience, you're just like, is this guy for real right now? But he 100% is, and he drops some of the best one-liners.
Oh yeah, tons of one-liners in this film. It's very quotable, extremely quotable. So
Yeah. So I mean, let's just jump right into it. It opens up with one of the main characters, Egg Shin, talking to his lawyer, and it's kind of opening up the story like, okay, cool, well, once upon a time, but in this case it's, yeah, so this is what happened to me the other.
right, and it's kind of cool. I feel like it's an interesting, like, I don't know if it's a cold open, but it kind of sets the tone for like, okay, this is like a real world, a real place, a real setting, something as drab and boring as this guy talking to a lawyer. But they kind of filter in little phrases that aren't very real world, like ball of green flame, you know, and this and that. And so it's like a weird balance of, okay, this is just a bland sitting talking to a lawyer guy, but they're talking about fantastical things. But obviously the lawyer doesn't believe it. So yeah. I mean, obviously, like, it's not like, oh, hey, we're just in a world. It's not like a Marvel film where it's just nothing against Marvel, but in the sense of like the Marvel world. Yeah. Okay, yes, like Iron Man is a thing and he exists, and Spider-Man is a thing. So there is like mutated and powers. This is like Egg Shen is talking. Yeah. Egg Shen's talking about like, you know, his side of the story, and he's like believes in it, but this lawyer's like, you know, like the rest of us, because we don't know anything yet. Like, what are you talking about? Like you still believe in this? This doesn't make sense. Like, like we're just trying to get to the bottom of where whoever this Jack Burton is, like, and they're trying to find him. So far, like, you know, like it starts off, like I remember watching it as a kid, and I was just kind of like, well, this is strange.
Yeah, kind of the legend of Jack Burton that Egg Shin's about to talk about, and you're right. He is kind of, he speaks in proverbs throughout the whole movie. He's always dropping kind of deeper toned sentences and phrases. He's not always just saying, okay, cool, well, yeah, I am a sorcerer and there's magic in this world and there's all this stuff. It's more so like, this is the world you think you live in, but this is what happened.
And also, like, he seems very he's very protective of Jack Burton, right, in that opening scene, because they're trying to find him, and then it like triggers him, right? He's like you know, you leave Jack Burton alone, we're in great debt. You know, and then so it's just like, and then what the lawyer's all, he's like, oh, okay, and what do you feel that what Chinese black magic is real, and you believe in all these things, like how can I defend you for whatever he has to be defended on, if you believe these things? Because I mean, to the lawyer and to the rest of us, that stuff's not real. So I mean, so that was the first part. Like, I think it's a really cool opening, how it gets you in. Like, this movie I feel is very fast paced.
Oh yeah.
And it does a very smart job of getting you like kind of shocked right off like the bat. So it's like, you know, how can I like know that magic really exists? And then he just like opens up his hands and shoots the lightning. And I was like, whoa, as a kid, like I was going nuts. Like, so my favorite superpower is like the ability to control electricity.
Yeah.
Like Raiden, static shock.
Yeah.
You had to go static shock. I'm not going to say it.
Well, I mean, I grew up watching like Kids WB, like
okay.
such a big cartoon.
I see why you chose Static Shock. Okay, disregarding that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and there's even a Raiden style character.
I bet you were gonna go a Storm next time. You were gonna go Static Shock and then Storm, huh? No, just playing.
Dre,
but yeah.
Do you know who Black Lightning is, Dre? Do you even read comics? I read comics.
I've never heard of Black Lightning. That sounds.
You've never heard of Black Lightning?
That sounds completely made up.
No.
But anyways, so like that power has always been my favorite. And like I think I realized like this film probably started that, right? I mean, obviously Raiden was in Mortal Kombat, Storm was in X-Men. But I think, I mean, this came out before Mortal Kombat did. So I
think so too. Yeah, Mortal Kombat was 90s.
And Raiden's design, he even had, like, we'll talk about the character with the lightning stuff, but that character is basically looks like Raiden now. But I remember like when seeing that lightning come out, I was like, whoa, like that's kind of crazy. And then as you kind of mentioned, Egg Shen speaking in like proverbs, or always having like a lot of deep lines. He's a very unique character. Like I love what this guy did with it. He's just like, see, That's how it always begins. Very small. And then that like epic music comes in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And I was just,
Carpenter with his scores. Carpenter has legendary scores for sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the score is its own character in this film for sure. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, the music is amazing. It feels like it's basically been recreated for Stranger Things. Like, if you were to watch Stranger
Hmm.
Things, like, seems like I know they pull things from the '80s, and probably Carpenter's a big part of that. So they probably just pulled like a Carpenter vibe. But I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if the main inspiration for Stranger Things theme was from Big Trouble. But yeah, so like that intro, like already, like I mean, because like they say that that you want to grab the attention of the viewer in the first 10 minutes. Big Trouble does that in like the first 5 minutes.
Oh,
So
for
like
sure.
that, yeah, that intro is awesome.
Yeah, and just to talk a little bit more about Raiden, I think he's actually based off of Raijin, which is I want to say it's Japanese mythology. It's a thunder god. It's a god
Right.
that can think of
Don't you mean? Wait, do you mean Gaijin?
no,
Gaijin from
no,
Fast and Furious 3?
no, no. Even in Pokemon, you see this with the weather trio: Thundurus, Landorus, and Tornadus. Thundurus is a Raijin, which is a demon. Well, it's not a demon, but it kind of looks demonic. But it's a thunder god. It's a god that controls. I think that's what Raiden's
He's
character.
also a Gaijin, like because he's not, like he's an outsider from
No,
the other guys. Is that what you?
oh no,
Is that what you mean?
it's a god. It's a Jin. You know, a Jin god.
Oh, like from the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay, yeah. Okay, I remember you played the Yu-Gi-Oh guys. Okay, I
Oh
mean, yeah, you know
gosh.
what? You could probably be right. I always just assumed that that's where they got the character, but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not basing that off of any factual knowledge.
No, 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 for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's always rooted in mythology, right? But you're right. This movie, after it hooks you with that opening, you go right into Jack Burton, and goodness gracious, he drops one of the hottest one lines. It opens up with him just as his car is like called. He's hauling ass. He's this big old truck driver
Mhm.
going to make a delivery.
Pork
Rain
Chop
coming down.
Express.
The Pork Chop Express 100. Oh man, and he's just talking to whoever's listening.
He's like I told my last wife, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes.
It's all in the reflexes. Is the I think the only recurring thing he's constantly saying throughout the movie. It's all in the reflex.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Like he has a lot of one-liners. Like, are you ready, Jack? I was born ready. And then just that opening scene of him driving, talking on like the breaker com to other truck drivers or whoever's listening out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like all those things are like great. Like when like when some 6 foot wild-eyed maniac taps the back of your favorite head up against like a barroom wall, you just look at him crooked in the one eye. So like have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
And he
Uh,
drops that line with just so much poise. It's like, yes, sir. The check's in the mail. Oh my
Jackson,
gosh.
which is hilarious because I think like I mean now like we don't send that many checks in mail, but that was always probably like the person who like was late on their bills would always be
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, it's in the mail, it's in the mail. So you can already tell like what I mean, and it's kind of funny. So it's actually like very well done too, right? Because it's like there's comedy tones to it, but it's like
Mhm.
not out of the realm of what the character would be doing. Like truck drivers who are doing all that stuff like need to talk to someone, but
Yeah.
we also get like a lot of information about him too, right? Like he says like he told his last wife, so that
Mhm.
denotes that one, he's divorced maybe even a couple times. um yes sir, the check is in the mail. Like maybe like he's probably like late on bills or always scrounging around for money. Thinks very highly of himself, and then he pulls out a massive Jersey Mike sandwich. I don't know if Jersey Mike's was back then, but he says all that just to like cement his manliness. He just pulls out this big BB sandwich and just takes a hunk and bite.
He
Um,
does.
but yeah, no, yeah, super sick intro, and all that set to like lots of music, like cool ass music, and like a little opening montage, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like hooked already.
Yeah. Oh man. And you're right. It does seem like he has money problems because the first thing he does is he kind of runs right into this kind of Asian community, and he's like talking to people, charming, and he goes right into gambling with I guess one of his friends, Wang, and then a couple other dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just there, like, I don't even know what they're playing. It looked like poker from the clips, but then like it's like some weird game.
I try to like, yeah, I've looked at that a couple of times. I mean, one we saw that looked like they had some sort of domino sort of things to it, right?
Yeah.
And then there was another one, like I assume there was like maybe some like bugs fighting or something, but you couldn't tell because they were counting it out. And it made me think of in Enter the Dragon. The only reason why I think it's bugs, because like, wait, what are they doing? Because they're like counting, right? 2, 3, like as if like he was being pinned down. And then in Enter the Dragon, when they're on a boat going to the island, the people all like betting on some like praying mantises, and Bruce Lee takes a bet with the guy as they're like some praying mantis like wrestling. So that's why I assume, but I whenever I watch, I always try to look at like the bottoms of the frame and around the bodies to see if I could see any creatures or like any evidence, but I could never figure it out. So I think it's a mystery.
Yeah, definitely a mystery. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It kind of just sets up that he's going to be connected with Wang, right? Because he kind of cleans house. He wins. He says what, like $1,100, like 1,042 or something like that.
Yeah. He cleans up, and then his friend like once the music and the intros ends, and they're finally getting like kind of our first real dialogue for the main part. It's like like his friends also needs that money too. So it seems like it's a bunch of people who love to gamble. And then, his boy Wang also says like he like tries to do like a double or nothing, which was kind of a cool scene, right?
Yeah, he tries to double or nothing, and he goes like, I'm gonna cut this bottle in half. And of course, like, seeing the intro, you would think, oh man, is he about to show off some magic? Like, is he about to win this bet?
Right.
And Jack's like, you're not gonna cut this bottle in half. Sure, double or nothing, that's fine. And of course, Jack calls his bluff because he couldn't do it. And Wang drops kind of an important clue where he's like, oh, my like, I wasn't one with my body and soul or something like that. Like, he wasn't whole. He wasn't.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, like, well, first he says, like, it always works at home. He's all shocked that it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I guess he does it a lot.
Yeah.
But then, I think it was like a little later. I think when they're at the airport, or no, he's nervous.
When they're on their way, yeah.
They're on their way, and then he's like, yeah, that's why, like, like the bottle didn't slice because his mind and his spirit are going north and south. So it's kind of a cool statement in the sense of, so there's like some spiritualness, like some elements of that, I guess. So far, like, this is what the movie's showing us in this Chinese culture. For these characters, at least, there's a lot of spirituality in the sense of balance and unity and like the universe and like the body, physical form, spiritual form. So it's a kind of a cool little throw out sentence, but it's interesting.
Yeah, agreed. And you're right, like you said, the point is to kind of get them connected because now Jack wants his money in full, and Wang's like, well, I can't give it to you. And Jack's like, wait, you own a restaurant. Like, what do you have money? And he goes, oh, yeah, but actually I need to go pick up my girl. What
I meant was, I ain't got that kind of money on me. I could quote the whole film. I might quote a lot. But yeah, I can quote the and then so they're gonna go, pick up the girl. Okay, so so far we don't really know what's happening, right?
Right.
I think like opens up with apparently Jack Burton's involved in some trouble. Yep. This lawyer's trying to figure it out, and so then we kind of cut back to try to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And what these guys, I guess they, the two friends. It's weird because they're friends, but they're also like, it's not like they hang out all the time. I guess when Jack comes through on his route. Like, and he makes a couple funny lines there too, like, when like Wang gets all upset about the money and like having to owe him or whatever, and he's all like, oh, like, come on, I thought like racial differences notwithstanding is like we were just a bunch of Californians here hanging out. So just, like there's kind of funny banter there, but like an acknowledgement that they're coming from different kind of like ethnic backgrounds and perspectives, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's still a friendship and a camaraderie there. So it's like, it's a sense of like, clearly these guys are different, but they get along and know each other. So it makes for kind of a cool, different like perspectives.
Yeah, you can definitely feel like a buddy cop relationship. They have chemistry. They're not attacking each other in any way because Jack's being all hubris, but Wang's just like, yeah, well, But yeah, it's getting right into the meat quickly because we already hear, okay, Wang's gonna go pick up his future wife, who's a Chinese girl with green eyes, and apparently it's rare. And I mean, I'm not one to really know too much about this kind of stuff, but they just keep talking about it like, oh, she has green eyes. Like, it's a huge deal.
Right. And then, you know, later in the film, like even like a Chinese lady, when they're at the little bordello, I guess we'll call it, like, Chinese girls do not come with green eyes, which I mean, it's probably true for the most part. I think I looked it up back in the day, and the lady who plays Miao Yin, she was like a big model, like in China back then or something. And I think they might have used contacts. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe she does have green eyes. That'd be amazing if she did, but I feel like it might have been contacts. But either way, it's still great, and I love it. I want a Chinese girl with green eyes too.
I think, like, to quote the last movie I did, Can't Buy Me Love, like, every warm-blooded male who is heterosexual will probably want someone with green eyes. No. I don't know. I'm not.
You're being very, very discriminatory against blue eyes and brown eyes.
You know, Dre, I have green eyes.
So you really love yourself, is what you're saying.
Oh my gosh, that's not what I'm trying to say.
It's getting really awkward.
But ignore that.
Anyway, well, so you know who else has green eyes is Kim Cattrall, who actually makes an appearance in the next scene, right? I mean, this is Samantha. Most people probably know her as Samantha from Sex and the City.
Yep.
So we have a young Kim Cattrall, and I mean, the airport scene. We kind of mentioned that the film is pretty fast paced.
For sure.
It kind of gets things going like pretty rapidly. We have the initial intro with that cool reveal of magic, and then it slows down to kind of introduce Jack and Wang, and then it goes straight into like some speed. So so they're at the airport, gonna get to pick up Wang's girlfriend from China,
and they run into Gracie Law, who is a reporter, right? Oh no, she's a lawyer. Excuse me, her friend's a reporter. She's a lawyer. She's a lawyer, and so they run into her as she's trying to pick up someone. Jack, you know, you kind of see, oh, maybe that's going to be the love interest, like he sees a pretty girl. And they're picking up Wang's girlfriend, who gets captured by what's called, it's a Chinese gang. What is it? The Ming Tigers? Was that what they're called?
Oh, like, was it the Red Tigers is the place that they took them to.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, the gang that grabs them at the airport. I mean, it's by accident, but there's some cool things there. Like, I always kind of joke about it. Is like we see the very first evidence of shutter shades.
Oh yeah.
We find out where Kanye stole that whole idea with the shutter shades, because we see the one guy who has just like it's all blocked. For people who haven't seen it, it's all blocked. I mean, there's just like one slit instead of like a bunch of openings. There's just one opening that's curved. That, like, there's no way anyone could actually see out of those shades. But I love that. So we get that, and it's just like, so there's like a little gang kind of chilling around, and then I mean, they're gonna go get Kim Cattrall's like Gracie Law's girl, because they're just trying to pick up like a random Chinese girl and like kind of sell her on, like, I guess, the flesh market, which is kind of sad.
Yeah. It seems like some type of human trafficking is going on with that street gang.
And then Wang's girl gets in the way, but like Jack. So we see Jack tries to stop him, right? Like, or he's like, yo, what's going on? And this is like the first scene or sense that we get that like Jack thinks kind of more of his skills than his skills really are. Like, he's gonna try to rough up these guys, and they bust out some secret weapons. Like, a guy has a switchblade, he's doing some crazy stuff. This other guy has like a long stick. He's like, "What the heck? Where'd you get that?" And then another guy like trips him, like, and like he just gets fully bodied, and then they're able to steal Miao Yin. So that's kind of like where things like this is like
escalate.
Yeah, this is the moment that basically pushes the whole plot like through the rest of the film, and kind of like the main action point here.
Yeah, exactly. So they capture her. They're driving off. So Wang and Jack jump into his truck, following her.
Is it the Lords of Death? Is that was the street gang name, I think.
Lords of Death. That's the street. I'm sorry. Yeah. Red Tigers. You're right. So it's the Lords of Death, and they're taking her. So they're following. They kind of lose them. So they're like, okay, cool, take that alleyway. So he's driving this big old truck through like a tiny alleyway, and he has to
do a crazy turn. And that was a cool thing too. It shows like the sense of like everyone kind of knows. Like one, it's San Francisco is pretty massive, but the fact that Wang Chi knew Gracie Law shows that there's like kind of this community of people who know each other, but like a sense that that goes throughout the film, like a theme I feel like is Jack Burton like not being in the know or being the outsider. And I think they even call him, he's like, hey, I'm feeling like an outsider. And they're like, yes, that's because you are. There's a whole lot of like, everyone seems to know things that Jack doesn't know. Like we're basically he's the embodiment of us, like the viewer. So a lot of things that we don't know, because like even there, like Wang's like make it right, like right now, and Jack's like, what? I don't see it right. He's just do it, just trust. And he goes, and he does a crazy turn, and then there's basically this hidden alleyway. Yeah. It's just another sense of like Wayne knew about that, Jack doesn't know. And there's going to be a lot of times where Burton doesn't know things, but he still walks around with all his confidence, even though he's always confused about what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. That could sum up Jack to a T. Like we definitely are living his experience as an audience, and I think that's why we like him so much too, aside from just all the comedy. But I mean, what would you do if you're following a street gang like that have guns and weapons and all that stuff? You're like, I don't know, I mean, I'm gonna do my best.
Right. Oh, sorry, but no. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point in the sense of, I mean, we aren't all Jean-Claude Van Damme and like kicking bamboo trees and able to do like jump split kicks in the air. If we like were really put in a situation where there was some like thugs trying to steal a person, we would probably want to help, but who knows if we would be skilled enough to do it. We would probably get messed up.
Oh yeah,
we would try just like Jack, but we would probably get beat up pretty bad. So there's like that kind of sense of like, I'd probably get tricked too.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they get into this alley where it seems like there's a standstill because it's really quiet. Jack's asking a woman from her window, like, hey, have you seen this car? They totally lost the vehicle. So he's trying to figure out, well, where should we go next? And then all these dudes just kind of pop out from behind the truck, in front of the truck. And this is not even 20, 30 minutes in. And there's just a huge brawl, a lot of action.
Yeah, that's funny.
Kicks and...
I mean, that's obviously for people. So this the film covers a lot of bases, right? There's a mystical element with some magic and things. There's comedy's a big element in the film, but action, I think, is definitely like at its heart, like at its core. And so this scene, I think, is another one that sets the tone for kids or just adults who love high action of like, so they pull down the alleyway. And then I think that lady, was she chopping up a duck? I think she was chopping a duck. And that always looked kind of wild to me as a kid, but it's like, it's another sense of like, this isn't your typical, we're not in like a normal area. I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating duck, but not every day you see like a character on screen chopping up like fresh duck. And
because this is supposed to be like a Western action adventure film, but like,
but I mean,
where are we going?
I mean, the film's called Big Trouble in Little China for a reason, and they did a very good job of like kind of putting that like element and like feel and ambiance into the film. And so it's like there's like this wedding, a funeral procession. And they got some nice little like drums and going, and like they're holding up the dead guy's like image, and people are even carrying his casket. And then, as you said, guys kind of pop out of nowhere. It's like, so like the funeral people wearing like the yellow turbans or bandanas, whatever, and they're like chilling. And then like all these guys like with red start coming out of the woodworks. They got weapons, they got swords and machetes, some sticks and stuff. They look like thugs, just a bunch of thugs. And then like, like Wang's freaking out. And he's like, oh my God, these guys are animals. And then that's where everything, you said there's like that like standstill of like, you have the yellow group is just there with their funeral thing going on. And then the red guys are all standing right in front of them. And then like they're just like kind of like giving each other like a real evil look for a while. And then but like, so what does Wang say? Like, Chinese standoff. Don't make a sound.
That's what he said. Jack's just like, what are you talking? Oh man.
I mean, I don't know if the Chinese standoff is like a real thing, but I believed it from this movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, well, first they're like, there's like a cool, like, there's like guns, right? At first, like when they meet, they're all there's like a crazy
There's just a
shootout.
crazy shootout, yeah.
You would have all these big types of like arsenal, and then once that stops, they all like kind of like there's like a cool drum beat, like the music once again, doom, 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 doom,
And then a series of just close-ups of like punches and kicks and blocks and it's just yeah.
So that was like a really cool scene for me, like the way the music is another character in the film.
Yeah.
And then you said, so we see all these faces, and people are like, it's funny, they pull out like the dead bodies, the people who are from both sides, the people who are getting shot, so they're moving them out of the way, but they're still gonna fight. People are coming out with sticks and making grunts and then they're like doing all these poses, and then at the end, Wang Chi's Chinese stand off. Don't make a sound.
Wait,
and
so
like, and then like we get all these close-ups, and then some guy screams, and they all just start running at it and do like a crazy action brawl with like the fight scene. Like the choreography was really cool too. Like a lot of cool kicking. Like the combat was awesome. Like I mean, are you a big fan of that kind of like genre? Like, what did you think of this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's good about the choreography is even though we're getting kind of close-ups, like in the background, it's very true to a big action set piece. Like there's constant fighting everywhere. Some of it's for laughs, but most of the choreography is just like spot on. You can
That was
definitely
the impressive
see,
part too. There's like a lot of people in that screen.
there's a lot of extra, what would be considered extras, but they're moving to the scores and doing all this crazy stuff, and I really enjoyed it. I thought like the close-ups were kind of funny, and then it got really just action-y. It started off like, okay, cool, we're gonna scream and do our thing, but then it was done really well.
Except for there's this one part where like there's like they snuck in a white guy there. It's cracking me up. They always do that in films. I was like, wait, this guy just punched a white guy? What's going on? I don't know. We got to watch. Like you have to run that one back, but that's great. Oh, and another funny part is like while all this is happening, just to show the like hubris of Jack, he's there. He pulls out a knife and thinks like he's gonna do something in the truck with his knife, which is played up for like comedy. But yeah, the people are going nuts. Like the yellow guys kind of like take the lead, and then all of a sudden, this is where like a magical element happens, right? Is this where like the green ball of green flame, and then we get like our first view of the three storms?
We get the storm, exactly. We get I think Thunder's the first one we see. But lightning is obviously the one that seems to be the most dangerous. But yeah, we get the storm trio, which is rain, thunder, and lightning. And these dudes, like you said, they kind of look like, they all kind of look like Raiden. They have kind of custom robes on, cultural robes, and big, those big like
wicker hats or
wicker hat. Yeah.
Hats that come down. Yeah. So yeah, very cool look, and very very misplaced, like compared to everyone else. It's very, their look shows like these guys aren't from around here. Maybe probably not even from this time, like from a different time.
Exactly. And they kind of stop the fight. Yeah, exactly. 100%. Definitely from like earlier period of time. But they kind of stop the fight in terms of everyone just stops. Not that, and well, they just start messing up everyone too. They get in there and they're just catching bodies left, right.
Well, yeah, and they come in like in a cool way, right? They're each giving their own entrance, and they come in like one guy's like doing a flying flip. Yeah. The guy, like comes like in like wind, and then obviously the lightning, comes down with like the bolt of lightning. So there's like some magic, and then we even see the guys. That's a funny part too. Is both now the factions that were warring, the yellow and the red guys, complete hatred 2 seconds ago, killing each other like mercilessly. Now they're both on the same side. Like they don't care about that squabble anymore. And they're both emptying loads of guns into the storms who are just standing there, and the bullets aren't affecting them. So it's like, well, these guys are magic. And then, as you said, then they start kicking some butt. So that, they start killing people like crazy. And like Wang's like, hey, we got to get the heck out of here. So Jack Bird just like starts honking his truck and drives crazy forward.
He just pushed straight forward. And this is where we get another magical moment. As they're pulling forward, we see this kind of similar dress to the storm trio, this kind of older cat, makeup all over his face, very traditionally dressed, I would think, and it looks like they run him over.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
But
definitely run him over.
they definitely run him over, but you can't run over something that has no flesh, which we'll come to find out later in the film. But they try to run over Lo Pan.
Oh, that's the last thing that you want to do. Yeah, yeah, right. He hits the thing, and it's like a hard hit too, and the body goes down, and then like they hop out the car. It's like Wang Chi still knows. So Wang Chi also knows who this guy is. He's like, hey, I think that was
Yes.
Lo Pan, or whatever. And then Jack Burton sees this guy. He still seems okay, and then he opens his mouth and shoots some crazy blue light out that like blinds him, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. It blinds him, and Wayne's like, "No, don't look." And Jack's like, "It's too late. I already looked."
So people know not to look. So like, yeah, all these things are like, this is like a lived in world, and people
Mm-hmm.
know about all these things. It's not like new to Wang, it's
Mm-hmm.
new to Jack, but this is all
Mm-hmm.
known to these people. So you kind of, when Wang Chi talks about myth and legends, like a scene later, you kind of believe it. So
Yeah.
yeah, they have to escape that, and then they're running from this mayhem, and then like Jack's like, yo, what the hell is going on? And Wang Chi's like, yo, I don't want to like insult you or frighten you. He's like, no, just insult me, like whatever. He's just like, yeah, like myths and legends, like. And then he goes into about like some stuff that's happening in 200 BC and
Mm-hmm.
warring factions and the first emperors of China, and like it's kind of like a cool thing. It's like, yeah, all Chinese kids are told these stories as children. We just kind of grow up not believing it or pretending not to believe it, but it's kind of like some scary thing to them.
Yeah, exactly. And Lo Pan is suffering a curse. I believe that's when he first talks about it. He's like, this guy is suffering a curse, and that's why he's still around. He's a living dream. I think this is what they keep
Mm-hmm.
referring to.
Yeah, yeah, they always say that, like only a dream can kill a dream is what Eggshell says
Yeah.
at one point. Um, which I find interesting too. Is it's kind of a cool concept. You see this a lot in films, right? Or in stories of like immortal things, entities, beings. Like seems like all they end up always wanting is to be mortal, and like us mortal beings in our lives, and maybe that's why, because like we're all mortal, but like all we want to be is immortal, because the afterwards is a scary thought. But it's like an interesting thought that in our art, a lot of times, immortal creatures want to be mortal. So it's like a weird play there that this character, this person, is living forever, hundreds of thousands of years, but all he wants is to like, not. And that it's kind of like we should maybe like we should appreciate what we have, like we should appreciate the pleasures of life and that sort of thing. It's kind of a cool little thought, like a little thing I take away from that, like kind of like element too. Because yeah, he's doing
100%.
all these things just to regain his flesh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly what you said. And to him, he's someone who's had flesh. Like he's doesn't have flesh now. Like he can't feel anything, but he's someone who did used to have that. So, can you imagine like the most delicious thing in the world to you, like say your favorite meal, and then all of a sudden you get cursed. So as long as you eat, whenever you eat that meal, you'll taste nothing,
Mm,
and the curse is you're like that forever. So
man.
you've tasted it, or love is another thing too. Like it is better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, because if he never had flesh, he would never know what it means to not have it. But because he had it and now has it taken away, there's a void, right?
It's like Captain Barbados in Pirates of the Caribbean. I see what you're doing there. I
That's
see what you're doing.
Dre, that's Captain Barbosa.
Him too. Both of those guys. Both of those captains. From Pirates of
Barbados,
the Caribbean.
Barbados is the Batman villain from Dark Knight's Meadow.
I haven't seen it, but I'm going to pretend like that's what I was talking about.
That's a comic book. You don't see, you read it.
Wait. Who's that basketball player who played on Phoenix Suns for a while?
Barbosa.
Yeah, him too. So all three of those guys, it's like all three of them. That's my whole point. That's my whole thesis about this film. But
No,
anyways,
but you're right. You're right about immortality. As humans, we kind of seek something that's kind of unattainable. We want to live forever without even thinking about the consequences, but it's our greed that drives us to that, right?
yeah, so it's interesting. So this character here, David Lo Pan, I guess his whole goal is to regain his flesh and blood by, I guess, finding and marrying a Chinese woman with green eyes to appease his emperor, which is interesting.
Right. And it's a ritual he needs to find a woman that can withstand like the flaming blade or something like
Yeah, that whole part that happens later. Yeah, it's interesting.
and she has green eyes. It doesn't even specify that. I don't think it specifies that she has to be Chinese, but
But that's the weird part about the story is like he's been going thousands of years trying to find this Chinese woman with green eyes. He finally does, and then he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'll just take Kim Cattrall as well, and I'll marry both." Like, okay, well, you could have just gone to like, I'm sure other parts of San Francisco and found a girl with green eyes and been done with it a long time ago. But yeah, I mean, after all that, so we have that whole crazy opening scene.
Yep.
They try to track down the Lords of Death. They kind of chase him down, run him off, and then
they meet Lopan. They run away,
and then he ends up at the restaurant, like Wang Chi's restaurant. Right?
Before they get to that, because remember they have to run back, but Jack's truck is gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that was the moment that kept Jack wanting to pursue this adventure. Wang wants to get his girl back. He's doing this for love, and Jack loves his truck.
That's true.
Jack loves his truck.
Yeah, that's true.
So they run back, but the truck is gone. Obviously, it's been,
stolen.
High-trucked.
I don't know about that one.
Well, his truck's been stolen. and so now they go.
No, it's been hijacked by, but not by Jack Burton. See, there you go. I helped you out there.
So they go. So this is where they go to the uncle's restaurant, and he's getting filled in what they're trying to do, what they have to do, and I believe Grace. Is this where Gracie comes in? Is this the moment where Gracie?
Yeah. She comes back, and then they keep running into each other. Jack's all flirting, like, "Oh, you just happened to stroll in here on a dark and stormy night," and then like even like the old uncle's like, "And what the hell is Gracie Law doing here?" And so everyone's ragging on everybody. It's kind of funny. But yeah, she shows up, and I guess the uncle even like lets Jack Burton know that like, yeah, David Lopan is like known. He's very dangerous, and that's where we hear the whole. He has spirit medium powers, like the immortals. He becomes a dream. Because his flesh and blood are atomized, I think he says, and he becomes a dream. So it's like that's kind of cool. And then Jack's like, "What?" Like the way
just goes over his head.
And there's like this cool like essence and like ethereal music going on, and like the old guy's like, he has spirit medium powers like the immortals. And Jack Burton just like, "What?" Which is a very like more real reaction. Like, what the hell are you talking about? But Wang just like, I don't care. Like, what? So Gracie Law comes in and like explains like, oh, she hears that the Lords of Death took Miao Ying to the White Tiger to like just sell like their love slave, right?
Yep. So they have to go to David Lopan's bank because he owns a bank, of course, being this man of wealth and power, being alive for thousands and thousands of years. So Jack and Wang kind of rush in, very bold, not too much of a plan with Gracie Law, Margot, her friend, and then there's another cat, Eddie, I believe.
Eddie. Oh yeah. He's the maitre d' at the restaurant. Well, they have to go to the White Tiger first to like try to get the girl, and then Jack, like there's funny stuff that happens there. Jack looks like a big, really kind of American dork, trying asking for like a girl with the green eyes because they're trying to find her because they heard that Miao Ying was sold there, right?
Yeah,
and that's right we're here.
And this is where you said the line earlier, the kind of head woman leader, I don't know what to call her. She goes, "Sir, there's no such thing as Chinese with green eyes."
Yeah, but then we see the other one walk to the back and they have her tied up. Jack has a funny line there too when he's all kind of uncomfortable. Like he ends up with the girl because he's trying to infiltrate, and she's like kind of getting ready. She's sponging down some stuff and asks him to take his tie off, and he's like, "Yeah, I know what you mean. My wife got it for me for Christmas," and which is kind of funny, like joke there. And then like I think so. The first time in the alleyway fight, there's ball of green flame. The green flame happens here, right? And then
so it's on the roof.
Yes, so that's in the roof. The storms are there because they're actually going to get Miao Ying to take her from there.
Exactly.
And this has my favorite scene in the whole film. I wanted to bring this up before we get to the thing. Because, I mean, comedy-wise. But yeah, so the lightning's coming down. Everyone's freaking out. Everyone's trying to run out the building. the one of the kind of head lady who works there is like freaking out and screaming and tries to run, and then the lightning bolt comes down and like knocks her through like a wall, and it's just like hilarious the way she's screaming and is flying through the wall, just her like body that's thrown like 30 feet. I always crack up at that time every time I see it. They have a lot of those moments where people are just flying through the air this way and that way.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny. And we also see Jack Burton gets handled again in another fight, the second time trying to fight. And one of the storms just kicks him like 30 feet. So another essence of Jack thinking he's a star. Actually, and they even let him like get in a couple punches, right? They just stand there. He just goes like 1, 2, 4 hard punches, doesn't phase him. Obviously, if they can take bullets, and then they just kick him, he goes flying 30 feet. And unfortunately, they get away with Miao Yin. So then, like, the guys have to figure out what next to do, right?
That's right. And this is when they get Action involved. No. No,
I mean, no, he still hasn't made it yet. I think that's
no.
I mean, he helps
later.
Yeah, but he helps.
He does help him.
Yeah, they're in like I think the Gracie Law study, and they have to figure out, okay, what are we gonna do next? Well, hey, if like Lo Pan has Miao Yin, the only place they're gonna take her is the Wing Kong exchange.
That's right. And this is again a moment where Jack drops a great one line, because he and Wang, they're, you know, it's time to go. It's time to get his truck back. It's time to get Miao Yin back. And he says, if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
Because the president's worried about Jack Burton. Yeah, it's like hilarious. Great one line. And then right after that line, they're outside the Wing Kong. It's like, this is going to take Cracker Jack time, Wang. Like, are you ready? I was born ready. And now they're going in trying to rescue Miao Yin, like not knowing like what's going to happen. It's like a very danger-filled area. But they're going in to do what they have to do because Wang Chi loves his woman and is going to go save her, and Jack just wants his truck back.
He does, and they actually kind of walk into a trap, right? Because they get past the guards really willy-nilly, like, hey, we're here to check something, you know, Jack being all loud and what have you. They keep going down a couple levels, get to an elevator that gets flooded with water.
That was a really cool scene. I love that scene.
That was a good scene.
I haven't seen that before. Yeah, it's like an elevator that goes down, so they think they're all cool, and then the lights cut out. Yeah. And then the water starts filling up from their feet and slowly fills up, and like they're all arguing. Like Jack's like, I thought you said we were just gonna waltz in and out like the wind. He's like, yeah, that was my whole damn point. But yeah, that was a really cool scene. And so yeah, it's dark. He has his lighters flicked on to get some source of light, and just slowly filling up with water. Jack even tastes it. He said, "Oh, this is salt water, man," which I think is even a little more like scary. So it gives that like kind of notice or thought that like it's San Francisco, so they have the bay, so this is partly like filtered in from the ocean, which kind of gives a sense like, well, we don't know, you know, there's like I feel like there's more threat of drowning. You know, if you're dealing with like the ocean and not just someone's pool or something. So that was a really cool scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that there's a nice little swimming scene, they're kind of swimming. And as they're swimming, they're swimming through like corpses.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's really
like
gross.
Bloody corpses and stuff.
You can tell that they've been there for a long time as well. And I think that's where Carpenter kind of comes in with his horror prowess, because he's really good with his monster creations. When you think about like The Thing, and Prince of Darkness and stuff like that, like he's really good. And in this movie too, he has a lot more monsters than just these corpses.
That's true. He has the monsters, and then but it's funny because Wayne kind of brings it into the reality of this like of this film, because like Jack's like, yo, once they get to like the oxygen, like the water level, Jack's like, Jesus Christ, where are we? And Wang's like, hell of the upside down sinners. And then, you know, earlier they mentioned something about like Chinese have a lot of hells. So there's like a couple different hells that they talk about, and they kind of make use of it. Like David Lo Pan, to threaten them, says he's going to send them off to the hell where people are skinned alive. And Jack's like, what are you, crazy? And like, but Wang Chi's like, no, like this guy's serious. Like,
oh yeah.
So like, yeah, like that was a really interesting area, that water with them upside down. And like, but Wang Chi's called it hell of the upside down sinners, which is a really cool name.
That is a really cool name. And they actually get captured now, kind of beat up, but not really beat. It doesn't seem like they're tortured too much, but they're kind of tied to some wheelchair.
Wayne just gets his head like scratched. Yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't know why he was in so much pain, but yeah, he's like getting his head rubbed up against the back of a chair. It looked kind of soothing to me actually. But then like Jack had like his torture. I mean, it's cool. It doesn't seem like it'd be that painful, but yeah, what the guy like blows. He has this ball.
Yeah, he has like a dodgeball.
And he like blows it with wind with his breath, and like it goes and hits Jack in the stomach, and so he's taking those. It feels like a lot of effort just to punch a guy in the stomach, but you know, it's cool. Yeah. It shows, you know, more their magical prowess.
I thought that was really funny because I'm like, are they getting tortured? And then they get strapped to some wheelchairs, and this is where they meet Old Man Lopan is what I.
Yeah, we've seen a couple. Yeah, the first time we saw him was younger, and this is like an old one.
Yeah, this is like old David Lopan, or him, I guess.
Super old.
Super old, in more of his human form, if you will.
Like the most human, I guess, he could be.
Yeah, and he's busting balls the whole time. He's great. David Lopan is money. He's
That's
just
funny.
Crap.
Jack's like, wait, you're Lopan? I don't get it. He's supposed to be like 10 feet tall. He's like, shut up, Mr. Button. You weren't brought upon this world to get it.
That's because everything goes over his head.
Everyone busts Jack Burton's balls. Like I said, the whole film, he's the one who doesn't know what's going on. He even whispers to Wang when they first get there. He's like, "Where are we?" And one of the storms is like, "You are nowhere." I was like Jack Burton is always getting like called out. But yeah, so they meet Lopan, and he's very curious. He's very interested in Miao Yin.
Yeah.
And about her history, and when she's like freaking out, like, hey, like, what do you do, and give her back and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So after we meet him, and he kind of leaves them to die in another room filled with corpses, right? Because he's like, all right, cool. After we're done talking, like, I'm done with y'all. I got to learn.
Typical villain thing, like, you know, they aren't gonna stay and watch the kill. Like, it'll happen off screen theoretically. So guys, go kill them somewhere else where I'm not watching, where I'm 100% sure it's actually gonna happen. But obviously the heroes are going to escape.
Yeah, so Jack breaks out of his restraints, and then they get out of the room. And I think this is where Eddie meets with them.
Well, yeah. Oh, I mean, like right after like that really funny kind of classic scene where like Jack's still in the, you know, first he's like, he hops on to the back of one of the guys. He's like, he has a knife to his neck. Like, don't make one move, tough guy, you're dead. And the guy makes a move, God, and just tosses him. Jack Burton goes against the wall, bangs his head, and then he jumps on him again.
Yeah.
Let's try this again. He even says, let's try it again. Jack Burton's just such a clown, especially in the whole like scene of the Wing, like, or the Wing Kong exchange. Like, he just like has so many elements of being the blundering fool hero. So then he does it again, and then the guy like kind of expands. He starts bringing his band and like knocks Jack off, and he gets thrown back in the chair, but goes flying down this
he goes flying backwards. Yeah,
like hallway, which it makes this like classic scene where he goes down, people are flying out the way, then he almost falls into like a well and has to like catch himself, and has like a really kind of like a nice like suspenseful moment of holding himself and like using his strength to get him back, right?
Well, what's funny is as he's falling backwards and almost falls into wells, he kind of knocks down 2 guards.
Yeah, he's knocking out people.
Like first he's
gonna get kills is by accident, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that's what happens, right? He luckily falls onto the storm, but then he gets tossed, and then he's supposed to die, but he clumsily and luckily knocks down 2 guards, doesn't die, picks himself up, and then, you know, Jack and Wang's like, where are you? And he's like, come on, man. What are you?
And then they meet up with Eddie, and like, and they had the funny, cool, like, exchange of guns. Like, like he's trying to, like, exchange, like, what size gun that they want to use. Each want the bigger one, so they keep swapping them. It's like, what is it? Like the white elephant? Or what's that gift during Christmas time where, like, people have a gift, and you have to keep exchanging it. People keep stealing yours.
Yeah. What's funny about this moment, too, is first, Wang has the bigger gun, and Jack's like, okay, give me that one. And then Wang takes one from Eddie, right? Remember in Avengers Endgame where in Endgame where Thor has 2 hammers, but Captain America is wielding one, and then Captain America gets the bigger one, and Thor's like, no, give me the bigger one. I felt that vibe because
Yeah,
I got that from pulling it from this. Like, okay, cool. I should have I'm the bigger guy. I get the bigger thing. Come on.
So it's funny. Yeah. So that was a cool moment. And they're like, all right, cool. So now they're going to get out. But then like, so then they like run in. Okay. So they have to break out. Like Gracie Law is being held. So Eddie lets them know that, hey, they're all there, but Margot and Gracie got captured.
Yep.
So now they have to go break them out. And so Jack's like kind of like, so they do a diversion, right? Mm-hmm. So we have Wang and Eddie are like kind of like call the guards, and Jack's like scaling on the side like American style. And it's funny where like Wang and Eddie kind of get like beat up, not really beat up, but they have to fight a bunch of like female guards.
And really female guards,
like throwing it to them, and they're struggling, and like they're like people are like they got like sticks and all these things, and they're like kind of like having a tough go trying to fend them off.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And I thought that was funny too. But Wang's a badass. Wang comes up top of like all the fights he's in. He's really, you can tell from the beginning he was like, oh, my mind and spirit aren't one. They're one right now because he's putting it all.
Yeah, we see some real skills. So yeah, because after they get through that, so they get through like the girls in there, they're actually able to break out. They actually kind of break out like a whole group of people, right? Like because there was a lot of women there being held captive. So they get, Gracie and Margot, and then they get a whole bunch of ladies, and they have to like kind of make a run for it. And security guards are chasing after him. One of the Storms, I guess we kind of see he's one of the Storms who was like who did like the whole blow up thing to knock him off. He's leading them, right?
Yeah.
So they have to like do like some underwater escape, dive into this like little like pool that has
like sewers. It's like a sewer
like,
system.
Ends up being a sewer system, and they're shooting guns, but they get that. They kind of escape there, right? And then we see like from that scene, we see kind of more funny like elements of Jack. Like it's the movie is so comically focused. Like it's kind of one of the it's like action and comedy like that, like but played perfectly.
Yeah, this is the first moment where, well, before that we see Jack and Gracie actually kiss in this moment, right?
Or they're like really close, like rubbing their bodies
kiss. Up. No, they definitely kiss in the sewers. They kiss in the sewers for the first time. And then
he kissed her because he's so happy. But she kind of like is like saying, "Hey, whoa, what are you doing? Like, why are you kissing me?" Like, "Oh, sorry. I'm just really excited to be alive," sort of deal.
That's exactly.
That's true. So we do see that, and they get out of that area. But then once they get out of the sewer system, they run up to this wall. Okay, cool. Like, Wang Chi figures it out because Wang Chi knows more than Jack. He's like, okay, this is like an open sewer system. I bet you up the ladder there is where we first kind of came into the area. So they go up, they run to this door, and Jack's like, okay, on the count of three, we're gonna open this up. It's gonna be obviously a nice false front. We just run out there and we just do what I do.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. He opens the door. And there's just like a whole gang of like bad guys just standing there waiting for him. Like the music, there's like I think some brass like brong for like comedy, and he just shuts the door. Okay, we may be trapped.
That was such a good moment.
And then so then the bad guys start hacking at the door, and Jack's like hide. So everyone runs and hides, but Wang Chi's gonna stand by his homie. Like, no man, I'm standing by you, do or die, or I'm gonna stay with you.
Yeah, and this is a moment where, again, Wang is kicking ass, and before Jack can even get, like, a punch in, he gets thrown to the side. Because
but, like, he's so bad. Like, I mean, at least he empties his gun. Like, the first time he had the safety was on. The first time he
couldn't even operate it.
This time, when the bad guys break in, he's able to, like, at least take down probably 4 or 5 of them with his gun. But once that's out, he's done.
Yeah.
Like, he, like, tries to grab his knife and throws it clear across the room on accident. So he has to go and get it. And then this is where we see Wang become Wang Chi, and they start kicking some serious butt. And like, we see some pretty good action from Wang. He handles all of them.
Oh yeah, he does. It's funny because it's like Jack's supposed to, you would think, be that guy who's doing his thing, and like you said, as he's gonna go pick up his knife, he kind of turns, and Wang's already like won the battle.
Right. Yeah, it's like time to go. He's like, like I love that scene. It shows that Wang can handle his business. Jack is still going to be a bumbling idiot, and they have to then escape. But then like so what? So yeah, as they're trying to escape, I guess we see some of the monster element kind of like the first like main monster element that comes in the film, huh?
Yeah. So this is a good moment too, because as dumb as Jack is, he knows how to escape from this moment. He's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna basically mess with the guards. Everyone get the hell out of here. And Gracie, you bring up the rear. True. But they're talking in front of this like kind of older Chinese statue, and the eyes kind of go out. It's kind of a scary moment. Like the eyes go out and they come back and it's like red eyes just chilling.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, it was a really good moment. It's a really scary moment too. I remember watching like old school Scooby-Doo cartoons, like the monster's always kind of lurking behind paintings and stuff, so the eyes will kind of change. So that's what it reminded me of. But at this point, I was like, that can't be Lo Pan, because Lo Pan's like that was a very freaky transformation. So they're all rushing out. And as they're all rushing out, Gracie's about to bring up the rear, and this big old sewer, well, it's called a sewer monster, but this big old like hairy beast just kind of grabs Gracie. And I'm just like, what is that?
And it's super ugly. And it's like, we haven't seen like that so far in the film. So it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's like, whoa, what is going on? And she gives a great scream. Props to Kim Cattrall. She gives a great terrified scream there that I really enjoyed. That thing grabs her. And so it's kind of like they have to escape outside. And we see Egg Shen comes to the rescue. He has his
bus.
Yeah, his tour bus there to like save him, and like all the ladies are running out with Wen Chi and him. But we kind of find that like their whole trip and plan kind of went for naught, because they weren't able to find Miao Yin.
Yeah, and now they lost Gracie.
They lose Gracie Law.
Yeah, exactly. And I wonder if at that moment with the monster, I wonder if that was the first time like that Gracie Law actually saw that character in real life, because it could have felt more real. I don't know, because
that would be really funny. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. That would be smart if like the first time you see this creature that we have is going to be on camera, so they can get like a really good scary scream.
Right.
I feel like that sounds like a really smart idea.
Yeah, I'm sure Carpenter had that. I wish I knew, but yeah. So Gracie is captured and actually meets Lo Pan, and Jack and the gang are back, kind of figuring out what they need to do next. Right? They got to go. Well. And this is with the help of Egg Shin now.
Yeah. So, I mean, they didn't really get anything from it. They actually lose Gracie Law, but then I guess what it does story-wise, it brings Egg Shen into the fold, and they say, like, oh, he's our kind of like local expert on David Lo Pan, and then we kind of learned that like Egg Shen's kind of been like gearing for this for a long time, kind of like bred for this.
Yeah, he says that it's his destiny to kind of defeat Lo Pan.
Right.
And so in the next kind of moment, they're all ganged up. It's Wang and Jack, and Eddie actually stays back with Margot, but it's them two, Egg Shin, and then, what looks like one of the original street gangs in the first fight. Looks like they're all ready to go into battle. Mm-hmm. As Lo Pan now has Gracie Law, and he's like, wait a minute, you have green eyes too. So he's kind of preparing his two brides now, right, for this ritual to kind of get his flesh back. So as he's preparing them for the wedding, Jack and Wang are kind of riding in with Egg Shin. So it's kind of setting up for this like big brawl.
Well, we learned like Egg Shen kind of gives some more information. Like, okay, now are you guys ready for more bad news? Yeah. I mean, yes, he has to marry this girl with green eyes to like appease like the god of the West. But to appease his emperor, he has to kill his bride. So I guess that's where he takes in Gracie Law, so he can kill her and still keep Miao Yin. But this is what, since Jack Burton and Gracie Law are kind of having some attraction there, it's a good way to kind of make both, like, kind of, I guess, male leads have some investment of, now we want to save both of our ladies. So then Jack's like, no, we're not going to let that happen.
Exactly. And so they're making their way, what looks like another sewer, right? And I forgot what it's called in the movie, but they're kind of making their way through another sewer. But before that,
I think he calls it the bulk of the dead trees, David Lo Pan.
That's what it is. Of course you know that, Knox.
And then, there's like, I'm telling you, there's like the water is like, there's some monster or something breathing underwater, and Egg Shen calls it like the black blood of the earth.
The black blood of the earth.
Like, what do you mean? Like oil? No, I mean the black blood of the earth. He says something kind of cool too. This part I kind of big. He says like many years ago, like like, you know, like a lot of like good people died, but a lot of like bad people were left free to roam the earth and create great offenses against the gods.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's still like, yeah, a lot of things coming from Eggshen. It's very like spiritual and in the know of this like lore.
He even gives them, before they get to where they're going to get to, he gives them, I was calling it Michael's secret stuff, you know, a little illusion space jam. It kind of gives them like a potion of some kind to like, it seems like they lose their inhibition. I was like, is this just alcohol? And he's just kind of placebo.
Oh yeah, like because what, only a dream can fight a dream.
That's what he says. Yeah.
He says there's something like the six demon bag. But yeah, the potion is supposed to like let them do things no one else can do, see things no one else can see. Jack Burton's like, real things? He says, well, as real as David Lopan. So yeah, so this is like what gives them the ability to like fight on the evil guy's level, like on their, to make it a level playing field, like give them like a little edge, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree. And we see another kind of awesome monster as they're going through those sewers. It's like, it takes one of the, you know, just a no-name person of the gang, but it kind of just jumps in out of a sewer hole and just like rips the dude back. And we're like, looks like a weird worm creature. And I'm like, whoa. And Carpenter just with his kind of cosmic level horror, like that's a great design.
Yeah, that was a really cool creature. It just snatches the guy, goes back, and then Eggshen shines some lights on some like jelly beans or something, or marbles, and throws the jelly beans, and it creates some weird like explosion smoke. It doesn't actually harm the creature, does it? Because the creature doesn't just die.
Yeah.
But what Eggshen is like, it'll come out no more. So at least it's gonna like create some sort of like warding sphere or like element that's gonna make the creature not want to come out.
Yeah, some type of barrier.
And Jack being Jack and not knowing anything, is like, what? Huh? What's gonna come out no more? And it's like, come on, let's just go. You know what I mean? They don't take him serious. He never knows what, like, he never gets his answers either. But
yeah, and then they're making their way through Lopan's big old fortress, and Jack's just like, no, something's wrong here. It's too quiet.
It's just too easy.
Yeah, this is too easy. And Action is like, well, yeah, Lopan's trying to, again, just not being in the know. Like, well, of course it is. Everyone's going to be guarding his wedding. No one cares about front door.
And Lopan has, I mean, now we see his hubris or his arrogance. He feels untouchable, which, I mean, he's been immortal for so long, so why shouldn't he? But he forgets that by completing, if he is able to complete the ceremony, this task, he's going to be mortal, flesh and blood, but that's also going to make him vulnerable.
Yes, and that's what Eggshen is kind of banking this whole plan. Like, okay, cool, we have to kind of let him finish the ritual. Don't let him kill any of the women, but as soon as the ritual's done, he'll be flesh and then we can kill him.
Right.
And as they're kind of devising this plan, going through the whole fortress, they're being followed by some weird eye creature.
Oh, yeah, another creature. Yeah.
Another creature.
A lot of really wild creatures. That one's really cool too, right? It's like, it's his, I don't know if I think he called it a guardian. I can't remember what he called it. Maybe a guardian.
Yeah. And that's basically what it is. It's just like a bunch of eyes. So Lopan has eyes everywhere, basically, right? He has
it said
what an eyeball.
Yeah, what it sees, Lopan knows. And we see, and then it cuts to him like holding his temple, kind of like Sean and Psych. and he just like, yes, okay, I see Eggshen has led them through the bulk of like the dead trees. And he's able to even speak to him through that, right? So he like uses like a microphone, and from that he's able to speak to him, saying like, you've wasted your time. Like I'm going to follow the ceremony. I'm going to like kill, grace the law, and then live out his earthly pleasures with Miao Yin. We'll let the audience figure out what that means.
Ain't no one mad at that.
His earthly, she's lovely.
Miao Yin's gorgeous. Yeah, she's a beautiful woman.
So now we kind of have the culminating, the kind of the rising of like the final act, I guess, the third act.
Yeah.
Which actually, like, I have to give this film credit for. It's really hard to like have strong third acts. So many times in films, things kind of slow. You know, they kind of run out of ideas. Like whoever kind of wrote the story, the concept, they kind of like waste their lot early on with all the cool concepts, and by the end, things kind of fizzle out or they don't really add up.
Yeah.
But I feel like Big Trouble in Little China has a very, very strong third act. The final action scene, this whole set piece is very well done. There's a lot of creative things that happen. It all makes sense. It doesn't really seem forced.
Yep.
And it's like paced really well. So we have this like final kind of act, big fight scene and all these things happening. And it's all like really, really like enjoyable to me.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
I know we have to touch on a couple of the things. Yeah, because there's a lot of cool things that happen.
We're going to touch on a lot of things. Of course, Jack being Jack, right before the big battle is going to start. Again, what I love that Carpenter does is he has a lot of close-ups of just like the faces of the actors. And it's just like their reactions, their war cries. They're about to get into this final battle. Mm-hmm. Jack being Jack has a big old dope-ass war cry, shoots the ceiling. And some of the ceiling falls, lands on his head, and he's like knocked out for the first 5 minutes of the fight.
And then it cuts to him, his body's just completely laid out. So that scene's hilarious. It's quintessential Jack Burton. And it's basically, it's a great synopsis, or like kind of like if you were to say like, hey, can you describe Jack Burton in one like sentence or one scene? This would be the thing that you would show them. Like, this is Jack Burton. Obviously, like, he is still like the hero. He has his moments, as you said, when they escape the Wing Kong exchange, and he's able to like kind of take lead and like kind of get the people out to safety. He does have his moments. He's not completely inept, but he just can't kind of like get out of his own way. His bravado and his like kind of like his own ego kind of puts him in these situations where we just can't help to laugh at him. So yeah, he knocks himself out cold, so that everyone, then like the fight starts. We start seeing some really cool action scenes. Here's some fighting scenes from the guys.
Flying through the air, fighting rain, like just
really.
Oh yeah,
so yeah, I mean
acrobatics.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Okay, sorry. I know I said earlier that was my favorite scene. Is the lady get thrown through like 3 floors of like wall. I mean, that's like comedy wise, it's probably my like where I laugh the most. But my favorite scene is Wang Chi versus one of the storms. I don't know. I mean, we have lightning, obviously. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Is he thunder?
No. Right now he's fighting rain. Thunder's the bigger kind
thunder
of
is
buff.
big.
Yeah,
lightning is obvious. So he said that's rain, right?
Yeah, that was rain, and they're just kind of flying through the air with swords, crazy kicks, crazy acrobatics, and they're doing.
What's cool there is that so they took the potion from Egg Shen, so it gave them the abilities to do things no other men can do, see things no one else can see. So obviously we already saw that Wang. It's been established that Wang is a very good fighter.
Yes,
but this kind of elevates his skill. Since these storms are kind of like otherworldly and have powers better than the normal man, this kind of puts Wang on his level, right? So Wang's doing some cool fighting. He actually runs up and down like this wall, this like curved ceiling thing that like a normal human wouldn't be able to do, and that catches the interest of Rain. He's just like, it's almost like he was aroused by this competitor. Like, okay, here's someone who's going to really challenge my skills.
Yeah, worth my time.
Yeah, so then he goes over, and then their fight starts. I mean, there's a lot of, like, all these things are happening simultaneously, which makes it a really good fight scene. But just focusing on Wang right now, like, I loved him. Like, so they have a cool sword fight there, and I think this is like one of like the early moments in my childhood that kind of made me fall in love with sword play.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, there's some really cool stuff in Willow with Val Kilmer, also a great film with swords. But this one has like, their fight was amazing. They're just like doing all these like cool motions, and then Wang's doing backflips to get away from him. Yeah, they just have like it was very well choreographed. And then there's like the magical element where they're like jumping, flying through the air, and like sword fighting like side by side, and then landing, and then like Wang gives them just like a little like raise of like the eyebrows. It's like, hey, like, watch what I can do. It's like
exactly.
Super fun and super awesome. So they have a great scene there, and that was like one of like the really cool parts for that. Obviously, we have Jack Burton, who just kind of, he finally comes to. He gets only to get like knocked back down though. Remember, because the big creature in like the armor falls on him. Jack, like, he's like Bilbo Baggins or whatever, who gets knocked out right at the start at the Battle of the Five Armies and misses the whole fight. But Jack's out. Wang Chi's doing his cool thing. I mean, I also really like Egg Shen and Lo Pan's stuff. I don't know, like, I mean, like, what's your thoughts on that? That was really cool. It's like early on video game stuff, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Their sorcery just back and forth. That was a lot of fun.
Because
And
it's like so Lo Pan is able to just do it with his fingers. Because you know they
yes,
create these like two beams of light, and it looks like they have like pseudo characters fight for them. Their
right, like
power is
astral
like,
projections.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
showing their power, and they fight like it would be like a kind of like Mortal Kombat before Mortal Kombat was made.
or like a virtual reality they create. Like they're gonna fight in the astral
Like before,
plane.
right? Yeah, and then Egg
Yeah,
Shen has to use like he has like some ball crystal,
magic gems and stuff. Yeah.
but Lo Pan is just able to do it. But like I thought that was kind of cool. They're all fighting and they're going back and forth, and like yeah, that was a really cool scene that like I remember liking as a kid.
Yeah, and you know, before Jack kind of gets knocked out, he's kind of battling some warriors, and he has to pull out his knife. So he's on his back, laying down. He's pulling out his knife as this heavy guard runs into his knife and kind of incapacitates him. Right. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another clever. So Jack's now from being clumsy, knocked out. He's stuck under this like
Stuck
400 pound person because
creature
of their
thing.
armor. Yeah. So that was a good moment. And Egg Shin kind of Lo Pan, this he's throwing some stuff at Thunder, so Thunder doesn't go in and just mess up Wang where it's
That
too.
was funny too, where like it sends him flying, like the explosion, the guy in there goes flying up into the balcony and stuff.
Yeah,
Like a lot of kind of funny moments too. Like there's still comedy in these things. So it's like, yeah, it's cool action, but always laced with comedy. This film I think is very, very like comedic undertones.
absolutely. And he just kind of just like lightning comes in all badass in front of Egg Shin. You can obviously tell it's lightning. He has the electricity just flowing through, and Egg Shin just uses some more sorcery, incapacitates him.
That's what I found interesting. Because you know he's like, so he has lightning in his body, he's able to like use it to float around places, he creates it and conducts it, but then action like like lightning throws like an electric shock to him. He uses
Yeah,
this like reflective fan. He already had it
yeah,
ready and like
yeah,
sends the bolt back to him and it hits him, so he could be hurt by his own magic, because he kind of gets knocked
yes.
out and he's just like, whoa, like I hadn't felt that before, like yeah, that stuff hurts, he doesn't like it.
Yeah, you can
So
definitely tell
X-Shen's
that
holding
Egg
his own.
Shin. Yeah, he was like you said, it
Figuring
was
it
his
out.
destiny to fight Lo Pan. So he of course has something ready for the storm
Yeah.
and all
But through all this, Lopan does get the wedding, the whole,
the
procedure to go
ritual.
through the ritual, which is what they
Yeah,
wanted, because then he's
yeah.
all like flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
Gracie Law kind of comes to and knocks some old, guy, Alkalite or whatever, out of the way, which is kind of cool. She had her kind of little moment of like, no, I'm gonna fight too. Um,
Yeah.
but they end up kind of getting away, right? So like Lopan
Thunder and Lo
escapes
Pan run away. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Miao
I
Yan.
didn't cut you off. Yeah,
Oh no,
exactly.
you're good. You're good.
Yeah, so Thunder, Miao Yan, and Lo Pan are running off, and Wang kind of defeats Rain at this point.
Mm.
Wang and
No, he
Jack.
definitely does. He definitely does.
Yeah, he
Because
definitely beats him.
what Rain's like, they're doing their flying, and then Rain's coming out. He does another like flying attack. He's all screaming. I don't know why he's screaming so loud. He made it easy. But Wayne just like waits there chilling, and then at the right time, he like throws his sword up at him over his head, and it sticks Rain, and Rain goes flying into a thing, like explodes, which is great.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's one storm down.
One storm down. So
Still
they're
two to
kind
go.
of following exactly. So they're following after Lo Pan, and Jack runs into Gracie at this moment, and in true Jack fashion, gives her a big old smooch. And and what's great about this moment is Gracie's like full head to toe, like I would assume it's some type of traditional Chinese attire. So she has like a bunch of
Right,
makeup on,
a lot of
super
makeup.
red lips. So
Mm-hmm.
after Jack lays a big old kiss on her, his like from nose to chin is just like all red with lipstick.
Yeah, it's a good testament to this film, and how like in a normal action film, like that wouldn't happen, right? Like
Right.
the hero always looks perfect. This is not like the real world, and even though like the story is very like magical
Mm-hmm.
and mythical and like what's happening, because there's all this magic happening, they have kind of like a real grounded element of, hey, these people are just kind of making out for a second because they're like they care about each other, and they just have some life, close life ending moments, so they're like blood's boiling, But after they kiss, he has all this lipstick on his mouth, looking like, here's our hero with like a bunch of lipstick on his face and teeth, like an idiot, which is
Oh my
like
gosh.
perfectly hilarious and real. Like it gives you a sense of realism in this like non-real kind of element of the story.
Yeah, there's definitely a good balance. It's hilarious because he's still super hubris and he's chasing them. He kind of stops them in their tracks, and Lo Pan and Thunder are like, you know, there, and Jack's just talking to him and just being all Jack. And I want to leave this moment too, because this is one of the best moments too, where Jack's just monologuing, talking his smack, and Thunder goes, "Who are you?"
Yeah, or like
that. Yeah.
Or like
You know what Jack Burton says in a time like this?
He rolls up like he's all, yeah, super rolled up and feeling all big shot as only Jack Burton would. Meanwhile, he has all this lipstick on his face and teeth. And then Lo Pan, like, they're all like, hey, master, looks like, yeah, look, you're a flesh and blood. Everything worked out, like, finally. Yep. And then, you know, Jack Burton rolls up and Lo Pan's like, this guy again? Like, Thunder, take him out. Kill him for me.
Yep.
And then Jack Bird's like, won't do you any good, Dave. You know, a lot of people have been dropping like flies, hasn't amounted to anything. But you know what Jack Burton always does at a time like this? And then like, he thinks everyone knows who he is, but no one does. Thunder's like, who?
Who?
He's like, Jack Burton. Me. And then what's also great, so at that moment, then Wang Chi comes and does like a freaking like 40 flip somersault flip in the air.
Yeah.
And lands in the most badass way on the other side, making Jack Burton look even more badass.
Yeah.
He sees his homie do his flip over, and just like Jack Burton says, "What the hell?" And then like he like tries to take a punch at Thunder, but Thunder just like knocks him. Like, you know, I mean, these guys have had their potion, but Thunder's still whooping him. So then like Wang like has to run away, and like Thunder chases after him, and Wang starts doing all these flips, and like that stuff is always like really funny to me too, like where like Wang has to survive Thunder by like running back and forth through the hallways, and he's flipping, and Thunder's throwing like everything but the kitchen sink at him, like almost literally. Like he's just seeing a bunch of shit flying left and right and all this stuff, and then it's just left to Jack and Lo Pan to like have their final duel.
But I think Gracie comes in too, right? And she kind of wipes Jack's face off, but before the biggest like heroic moment of the movie for him.
Right, like, oh yeah, she kind of comes. I mean, yeah, because it's like, yeah, when she's doing this thing there, and she comes and like helps him. I guess, you know, probably because for your like last heroic moment for like the film, they probably didn't want the lipstick on there.
No, I don't think so either. But the moment before that was perfect. So
and the posters and stuff.
Exactly. So Jack takes his trusty knife, which he's had throughout the whole movie, and he thought it was gonna save him. He just chucks it at Lo Pan. Lo Pan almost instantly just like dodges it, tosses it right back.
Yeah, it shows like, you know, Jack thought he could just kill him with throwing a knife, and it just misses. And then all, you know, both the ladies there, and they just look so defeated and you know, it'd be like a very embarrassing moment. It was embarrassing for him. He's just like, oh gosh, like here's our hero, thinks he's so cool, he can just chuck a knife at this bad villain.
Yeah.
And the guy just dodges it. Just like Jack Burton, once again, even at the end, still being the bumbling hero.
The bumbling hero, but it's all in the reflexes, Knox, because Lo Pan, when he throws a knife back at Jack, thinking that he's won, Jack almost instantly just tosses it back. Happens in the blink of an eye, too.
It's all in the reflexes.
It's all in the reflex. It catches Lo Pan right in his forehead.
So, like, I mean, how much do you think that's Jack's reflexes, and how much is it the potion? Do you think it was any potion? Mixture of both?
You know, I wasn't thinking about it for him at this moment, but you're right. I'm sure it had to. I'm sure he has some reflexes, right?
Because we've seen
the
it.
Potion helped him. Yeah, the
potion definitely helped him. But it would be kind of a fun thought that, like, you know, he does say it's all in the reflexes. He said a bunch of times, like, what if that was just all his skill? But I mean, Lo Pan is like a magical being, even though he was just still made mortal. So yeah, the potion definitely played a role. But to think that it was just his reflexes is pretty badass too.
Was really funny. And when Thunder sees Lo Pan rolled over dead, this is another great, I think this is why Carpenter's so good. It's another kind of body horror moment, because Thunder, he kind of self-destructs. He grows, like, all of his fibers of his being just kind of expand and get.
To see his master is dead. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's about to explode, and Jack and the whole crew, they're like, all right, we need to get the heck out of
Like,
here.
I don't think it's gonna stop. I think that's probably for people who haven't seen the film at all or know nothing of it. That's probably the most recognizable thing. It's not seen everywhere, but I have seen it. Like it is somewhat of a meme, like character kind of super blown up face and stuff. But yeah, David Lopan dies. They have the cool little moment where all the statues kind of collapse in this like sort of Lego like way. And then the second storm kills himself in his grief, trying to kill them too by exploding, but they're able to avoid it. And now they got to get the heck out of there. But there's still one more storm left, right?
And Egg Shen makes kind of quick work of that again. He's just...
Well, that's cool. Okay, so there's something funny. I thought, I wonder if M. Night Shyamalan saw this film. This is where he got his ideas for Avatar. Because, boy, like when they're in this hallway and they see lightning, and like, oh no, here's like probably the most threatening one because he's the one who's like his magic can like travel distance. It's like projectile magic. He starts doing like this avatar instead of just like shooting like lightning. He goes like, oh, and does like all this for one motion, like these horrible Avatar characters in the Shyamalan movie where they do all these movements just to move one rock.
Yeah.
Avatar is much better than that. The cartoon, please see the cartoon anime. Much better. But yeah, so he's doing all these hand movements. It's cool, but he's doing a lot of work just to shoot a little bit of lightning out. But he's creating some fires, and they have to like jump up a couple levels to try to like avoid lightning stuff. But
they're going through the holes in the ground.
But eventually, like they're able, like Egg Shen's able to save him by dropping a rock and smashing.
Egg Shen's great.
There's a cool little moment there. I haven't looked up like what it means, but if you were watching it back, when lightning gets crushed, he kind of falls back down. There's like a little bit of fire that flares up, and then the lightning crackles. The last frame of his lightning crackling going away shows like some Chinese symbol, like a word.
No way.
And I haven't checked it out, but I just happened to notice, and I was like, "Well, that's kind of cool. I wonder what that means." We should probably look it up. I'm sure it's in there somewhere in Google. If we Google it. But they're able to finally escape those guys.
They're finally able to escape in Jack's truck, of course, because you can't leave without his truck.
Yeah, they happen to find it randomly, right? They're running through all these halls. This like I don't know if it's a fire alarm, but it's whatever. Some sort of alarm is like hammering, ding, 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 kind of gives like a nice high energy pace. And this actually it's a really cool shot where they run through like probably 4 or 5 rooms, and it looks like it's one camera shot, kind of like how like in the 90s it got really big with like the doctor like shows like ER and all those things where like the characters will walk through like 5 rooms in one long take with like a steady cam. And so in this they do that where they're running through a lot of things, and it's kind of high pace, high energy with the like with the alarm pounding. And it kind of gives like a really cool like energy and momentum. Like, whoa, yeah. It feels like we're all trying to escape. And that was like a really cool shot I thought that he did. But they just stumble upon a room. And Jack's like, oh, there's my truck. Like, oh, my truck. So he like accidentally finds his truck, and they're able to like use that to try to escape.
And escape they do. They go right back to the restaurant, of course.
So after all that, finally mission accomplished. Wow.
Yep. And Wang's just when they're in the truck before they get to the restaurant. Him and Yao Yin, you could just that's puppy there and so much love.
Yeah, finally, victory. Thing. So they make out, and then we can breathe. They get back to the restaurant. There's like kind of like a feeling of accomplishment, celebration. People are cheering, I think. But then it's also like weird because they go straight, very fast pace. So they don't even settle quickly on the celebration. It's like straight to Egg Shen's gonna leave, and like Jack Burton goes up to him like, "Hey man, you're already leaving?" Like he's like, "Hey, like I accomplished what I meant to do. Lopan's dead. The curse has been lifted. Like a long time ago, I promised myself like a long vacation. It's now time for me to collect." And Jack's like, "Oh, how about you visit China, like or visit the motherland?" And Egg Shen has a cool saying there. He's like, China's in, like is in the heart, and like wherever I go, like it's with me. So that's kind of cool.
And true to his character, he's just always speaking in like proverbs and such deep coded things. It's not just surface level with them. It's always something more, which I love the writing about each character, because that's action to a T.
Right. Same. And then like Jack kind of settles up things with everyone else. He's getting ready to leave, and then Margot, which is so awkward. She's like, "What? You're not even gonna kiss her goodbye?" Because Gracie
Kiss Gracie goodbye.
Because they're like she was trying to see like, well, maybe she could hang around. They can kind of be an item, and he's like,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but then at the same time, he says, well, you know what, like. I end up rubbing everyone the wrong way. So, he's like kind of just meant to be like a lone wolf.
Yeah.
So they said, all right, well then I guess I'll see you around. So he's getting ready to leave, and Margot's like, what, you're not even going to kiss her goodbye? And he looks at her, waits a couple beats. Nope. Just smiles, not in like a mean way. Just like as cool as you can be. It's what makes him a really cool hero.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's not going to kiss, he's not going to kiss the girl goodbye. He's just going to leave without giving her a kiss.
Yeah.
So that scene was really cool.
I really like that too. It kind of, I don't know, it makes him, it kind of elevates him. Like he's just that cool guy. Like even for as clumsy and as dumb and as arrogant as he is, like he's a cool dude. Like this is
still a cool dude. Yeah, he
leaves you wanting more.
He did end up killing like the main villain at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, he really liked Gracie, but
yeah.
At the end of the day, he wanted his truck. He wanted his truck and his freedom. So that's what he got. So that was really cool. And then like a really cool, I mean, so many cool things. We keep saying cool a lot. But then, his good friend, now maybe his best friend after something like that, you get really close. Wayne comes up. Oh, he pays him triple.
Triple. It's not just double, it's triple now.
And Jack's like, yeah, man, I earned that. But then, yeah, Jack says a really cool line. Like the music kicks back in, really cool Carpenter music, like some nice little ding, 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 really like kind of like ethereal and mysterious. And Jack just looks at him. It gives a nice sense of completion, just like, we really shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Wayne? And Jack's like, Wayne's like, no horse shit. He's like, yeah, no. And it's like, really shook the pillars of heaven. Like that was I love that line, so he stuck with me. So that was one of my favorites. And that's like a great way to end it. We mentioned earlier how the third act is a hard thing to do well, and they did it like they had a very nice action set piece that like kind of all the action throughout the film built on. It kept getting better and better. And so it's, you don't want to have your best action piece early on and then end with a poor one. It ended with a great action piece, a lot of cool pieces. Everyone kind of got their good like kills in, and then like you even have like the great kind of one-liners at the end, like, we really shook the pillars of heaven also. So it's like, man, that's a cool way to end out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And then of course, the next scene, kind of the ending, Jack's on the Pork Chop Express, driving down a dark and stormy night, and he drops another classic Burton one-liner. Jack looks the storm square in the eye, and what does he tell it, Dre? What does he tell the storm?
Give me your best shot. I can take it. It's great because it ends the way it begins, right? It starts with him on driving, talking on a thing, like, what do you do on a dark and stormy night? And then it ends, like the same way he's driving, talking to no one, like when the rain's coming down, sheets thick as lead, thunder's roaring, and poisonous arrows fall from the sky. Like, that's pretty poetic. Okay, Jack.
Yeah, Jack's a poetic guy.
What are you doing? The pillars of heaven shake, okay, Jack. And then, he says that, give me your best shot, I can take it. And then the camera just pans from him to like the back of his truck.
And there's that sewer monster.
Yeah, that's a great reveal. Like how stoked were you when that happened? To like make it like, back then there probably weren't a whole lot of like to be continued or like sequels, but this kind of left it open for a sequel, but just in like a fun way.
Yeah, I thought it was fun, and it kind of, I'm glad that they didn't just jump over that point, because they defeated him earlier on.
They kicked him, but no,
they just kind of kicked him when he was down, but they didn't really kill it. So I thought that was cool that they didn't leave a question unanswered. That thing is still alive somewhere doing whatever it's
in a very cool way. Yeah, it's just like, it's got the weird music. It's kind of creepy, the music that's playing in the dark and stormy night. He's talking about poisonous arrows falling from the sky. And then it pans to the back, and then you hear like this scream growl from the creature and the hand comes out and his
Yeah.
ugly face sticks up from the top, and then it just cuts on that, and that's how the whole thing ends. Like, who knows? Maybe even Jack got screaming. You know, maybe that monster got him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we won't know, or will we? But it's such a good film. It's such
Great
a
film. Great film.
It's there's everything you can ask for. There's a little bit of romance, hella comedy, so much action. It
doesn't take itself serious.
It doesn't.
It's a way to have fun, right?
And it's only like an hour and a half. It's not even a long film. Like nowadays, you can't even get a 2-hour film right sometimes, and this is an hour and a half. That's not long at all.
It's not, but I think maybe that's why they were able to make it very fast paced and just go from thing to thing to thing and not kind of have too much of a lull. So I mean, now 2 hours is kind of the standard, and if the film is an hour and a half, like people probably feel like, oh, maybe the filmmaker is getting kind of lazy, but it really works for this film. And you know, maybe we have to look into that. Like maybe if you want to just kind of get in and get out and don't have so much filler and fluff.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure you heard of the rumors about, you know, The Rock probably being the next Jack Burton, kind of not a remake, but a continuation of the story. You know, who's to say what he's gonna do? He's in so many movies, but how do you feel being this is one of your?
That's the thing. Like, so yeah, I mean, the Jack Burton, like Kurt Russell did such a great job with the character. I don't know how you would try to recreate that. So like, I'm always pretty hesitant about these films that are trying to remake and rehash things. That being said, The Rock, as you said, is probably one of the, if not the only kind of action star right now. And he really I don't think he can do that much wrong. Like I've enjoyed almost everything he's done. He's a very good actor. He's very charismatic, very funny.
Charismatic.
So I mean, and very smart with his roles. So I feel like if he's deciding to do this, he probably is like put a lot of thought into it and is planning on doing like a nice thing. I would wish that they wouldn't just recast him as Jack Burton. Maybe they will, or if it's just a continuation, it's like another kind of character in this world. I guess I would rather prefer that. I've tried not to get too much information because, you know, I don't want spoilers. So I mean, obviously it's a classic, and I would hope that they leave it alone. I'm not mad if they do try to redo it, so long as it's in a smart way.
For sure.
And I feel like of anyone right now, The Rock is probably the best bet because he makes smart choices, very charismatic and funny. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here. And I thought when I heard about The Rock, I was like, I can see it. Like, there's not a lot of actors I would want to kind of step into the role, but I can see him being that kind of. He has that bravado. He has that Jack Burton voice. He could be super overly masculine, kind of hubris at times, but at the same time, he's just a big goofball.
Yeah, but still silly or still vulnerable in ways. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this film is definitely in there as one of my top films. I've always enjoyed it, watching it back even now, but still have like a great time. And yeah, I for sure recommend it to anyone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's such a great watch. Such a great watch. Well, Knox, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you, you know, chatting up this film with me.
Of course, man. Always happy to chat.
Yeah. You can definitely hear the passion. Oh man. But yeah, you can definitely hear the passion of how much you love this film, how much you appreciate it, and kind of how it's shaped you. I mean, yeah. Where can we find you, Dre? Where can we find you these days?
You know, well, I have a YouTube channel called Dre Godham's Gaming. So I play some Pokemon and Lord of the Rings stuff there. So I'm not like Dre. Like if you type in Dre Godham's for YouTube or for Twitch, you can find me there. And check out my stuff.
Awesome,
give me a holler. Come hang out.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to have you back on doing some more reviews if you're up for it.
Most definitely. Let me know. Yeah,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I kind of am.
I'm down. Hey, man, we can, keep talking about some cool films. Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. That's going to be a wrap for this one. Again, I'm Theory Labs. You can find me at Theory_Labs on Instagram. And stay well. We'll see you soon.
Take care. Thanks again.
Thanks, Trey.